Good morning and welcome to the Todd County Board of Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, February 16th, 2021. The time is 9 o'clock. Due to the COVID restrictions, the public isn't allowed to attend in person. The public can view the live stream of the board meeting with the link provided on the county website. Attending remotely is the media, soil and water board members Wayne Wendell, Dan Whitney, Tom Williams, Lee Birchall. Also attending is Suzanne Hendricks of the University of Minnesota Extension. Attending in person will be Deputy Sheriff Lonnie Markey's, Adam from Soil and Water, Deja, Soil and Water Division Manager, Dale Ketterhagen, Soil and Water Board Chair, Brenda Miller, Todd County University of Minnesota Extension, Sarah Ogren, Human Resources, Jackie Ock, Health and Human Services, Denise Gaida, Auditor Treasurer, Chris Pelzer, Coordinator. All commissioners are present, and we will now stand for the
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amendments to the agenda.
Yes, Madam Chair, we are pulling 4.8, the hire of the Administrative Assistant Angela Chamberlain from the agenda.
Are there any other changes? I'll ask for a motion for approval.
So moved with changes.
Is there a second?
Second.
A second by Commissioner Knizel. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed and carries. Potential consent items?
Potential consent items today are meeting minute approval for February 2nd, 2021, retirement of Lauren Miller, resignation of Reba Van Vuskum, resignation of Joshua Kreider, hire part-time dispatch, resignation Riley Munson, resignation Kellen Pulliam, resignation Kathleen Knobber, hire payroll benefit specialist, Birchwood Resort seasonal liquor license, Rainbow Lodge seasonal 3.2 malt liquor license, Rainbow Lodge setup license, and Thunder Lodge Incorporated on sale and Sunday liquor license.
Okay, hearing the consent items, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Kircher, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Newman. Discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I just got a question. Why did it take so long for some of these to get onto the agenda?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Newman, sometimes when these retirements or resignations happen, the department head is busy preparing to hire the next person or to prepare that process, and sometimes this gets missed. So it's an oversight by the department head.
Okay.
Thank you. I guess I have a question too, Chris. The higher payroll and benefit specialist, there's no name in there. Should there not be a name on that?
There probably should have been a name on that, yes.
Do you know who it is?
Yes, and I can name that person if you would like.
I think it would.
It's approved, so the name is Danielle Pratt.
Okay, thank you. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed and carries. Denise?
Get where I'm going here. There's lots on here today.
Yeah.
Give me a minute. All right, so my first item is the commissioner warrants. Get that up on the screen. Approving the commissioner warrants, background is sent for review. The recommendation is to approve the commissioner warrants with an ACH and a regular manual payment totaling in the amount of $104,538.98.
After hearing the commissioner warrants, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Motion by Newman, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Erickson. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll do roll call.
Commissioner Newman,
Yes.
Commissioner Erickson,
Yes.
Commissioner Kneisel,
Yes.
Commissioner Kircher,
Yes.
Commissioner Becker.
Yes.
Thank you. The next item I have then is the Health and Human Service Commissioner warrants. Background is sent for your review. Recommendation to approve the Health and Human Service Commissioner warrants with an ACH and a regular manual payment totaling in the amount of $77,702.85.
Is there a motion for the approval of Health and Human Services Commissioner warrants?
So moved.
Motion by Kneisel. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Newman. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll do roll call.
Commissioner Kneisel,
Yes.
Commissioner Newman,
Yes.
Commissioner Erickson,
Yes.
Commissioner Kircher,
Yes.
Commissioner Becker.
Yes.
And the next item is the Health and Human Service SSIS warrants. Background was sent for review. Recommendation is to approve the Health and Human Service SSIS warrants with an ACH and a regular manual totaling the amount of $79,977.67.
I'll ask for a motion for the Health and Human Services SSIS warrants.
So moved.
Motion by Kircher. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Erickson. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll do roll call.
Commissioner Kircher,
Yes.
Commissioner Erickson,
Yes.
Commissioner Newman,
Yes.
Commissioner Kneisel,
Yes.
Commissioner Becker.
Yes.
Next item is the 2020 DNR forfeited land release. The background was sent, or no, excuse me. What we're doing here is we're approving a resolution requesting approval from the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources for the sale of the tax forfeited land. The background is we do our research on what is going to be forfeiting, and the steps in part of the process is to notify the DNR what the list is, and they have the option of pulling it and then also valuing it for timber, if there would be timber on there. So we need to send this on to them, and we need full board approval for that.
Okay. For the DNR forfeit land release, is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Erickson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Newman. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, it has to be a roll call, excuse me.
Yep, Commissioner Erickson,
Yes.
Commissioner Newman,
Yes.
Commissioner Kneisel,
Yes.
Commissioner Kircher,
No.
and Commissioner Becker.
Yes.
Thank you.
Then I believe the next will be entering into the joint meeting with the Soil and Water Board.
We're paddling.
We are.
Morning.
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 Pictures off. Hi. You're on.
Pledge, or do we need to
Well,
skip that part? Okay.
Oh, they're going to let us skip, Dale.
Okay.
Oh, we already did the pledge, so.
Madam Chair, if I can also ask that, make sure you use your microphones.
Well, good morning. Here we are to meet as a joint meeting. We thank you for the opportunity to do this. It's a time of the year that we can communicate back and forth and let you know what we're about and where we're coming from and what we do throughout the year. So with that, I'll have Deja do a roll call and let you know who from our side will be zooming in and joining us.
Okay, Supervisor Dan Whitney? Are you with us?
Dan's here. Yep, I'm here.
Supervisor Tom Williamson? Tom?
He must not be on.
He was trying to get on this morning. He might not have voice. Okay. Supervisor Lee Buchholz
Here.
and Supervisor Wayne Wendell.
Madam Chair, we have somebody who's muted that's named Eric.
Yeah.
If they can unmute and announce themselves.
That's Wayne, I think.
That might be Wayne.
Could, yeah, I'll bet that'd be his son.
Could be.
Oh, there we go.
And then Dale Catterhagen.
Correct. Okay, next thing on the agenda here is to,
Dale, just wait, I have to call the,
Murphy,
the
excuse
joint meeting of the Soil and Water and the Board of Commissioners to order, okay? And go ahead.
okay. I guess unless I'm wrong here, is it time to approve the agenda 3.1 for the SWCD approval? So we do a roll call vote on that, is that correct?
Yep.
Go for it.
Okay. Dan?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
And Dale?
Yes.
Okay,
See if Wayne is on.
Yep.
Deja, do you want to see if Wayne is on now? Do you want to call for him out loud?
Oh, Wayne? Supervisor Wayne Wendell, are you out there? Yeah, he might not be able to. I think they're both.
Okay, well, we just seen the Eric pop up and it unmuted, so we thought maybe we should ask out loud.
Okay.
then I will call this board for the approval of the agenda. Motion by Commissioner Kircher, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Kanizel. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, we have to do roll call vote also.
Commissioner Kircher?
Yes.
Commissioner Kneisel?
Yes.
Commissioner Newman?
Yes.
Commissioner Erickson?
Yes.
Commissioner Becker?
Yes.
Next on the agenda is the presentation of the One Watershed, One Plan status across the county.
All right, if you can scroll to the map. So obviously, this is a map of the commissioners' districts, and overlaid on that is the outline of each of the watersheds. So in green, like you can see this one up there in green, that is the red eye, and they're moving into implementation right now as we speak for 2021. What implementation means is that once it's finally approved by the board, Bowser, all of that, we'll be able to start using cost share funds and acting on that. Also, the Sauk River watershed at the bottom is also in green, and that one is moving forward for 2021 implementation as well. In yellow is the Long Prairie watershed, and at this time, we are in the planning phases throughout 2021. And then to the right is the Brainerd, Mississippi, and that one, they're going to apply this spring. So planning phases for that will happen likely next year if they get approved. So any commissioner that is in that area or may be interested may be called to work on that if you so choose. And the final one is the Crow Wing near the top, and that is in gray. And it kind of has that thumb that comes down as well. And that one, they're not quite sure. They're looking at probably 2022 or 2023. That'll be the last one that we'll do in Todd County. Sartell also is really way down at the bottom. We're have a watershed meeting today, and I'm not sure how much you want to participate in that. It's a really tiny area way down if you scroll to the bottom. So that little like leopard corner right there, that's all we have in that area. So Obviously, it's up to the commissioners and up to the SWCD board when it comes time to vote your involvement. I'm suspecting it'll be less than some of these other major ones. Any questions? All righty.
Next on, excuse me, next on the agenda here will be to approve the resolution to adopt the Red Eye One Watershed, One Plan implementation, work plan, budget, and bylaws. So we call for a vote at this point in time, is?
We would need a motion in a second.
Yep, you need a
Okay,
motion.
is there a motion and a second that we move forward with this?
So moved.
Lee Buchholz here. I make a motion that we approve and go forward with the motion.
Is there a,
Dan Whitney, I second it.
there has been a motion and a second, is there any more discussion? Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote.
Okay, Supervisor Dan.
Yes. I'll be done in about 10 minutes.
Okay, Supervisor Lee. Buchholz.
Yes.
And Supervisor Dale Catterhagen.
Yes.
I have this on the agenda for the county when I come back later.
Okay, so we won't vote now?
No.
We'll
I
vote
have that as
later?
a separate item.
Madam Chair.
No, they don't vote on
We do
that.
have an additional, we have Tom Williamson on as well,
Oh,
so if you want to
Tom
get
did.
his vote.
Welcome, Tom. Can you hear us? Can you unmute?
He is unmuted, his microphone is not working.
Okay. All right.
Tom, we're having challenges hearing you. We're not hearing you at all.
All right. I guess we move on. Sorry, Tom.
Approve the resolution to submit the Sauk River Watershed Comprehensive Watershed Management Plan to the Minnesota Board of Water and Soil Resources.
Yep. This one, both the commissioners and the Soil and Water District will vote on eventually. Right now, it's just soil and water. And all this is that Sauk River Plan is you're voting whether or not to send it to Bowser for review. So all the policy board has recommended that it go to Bowser, but you need to have the final vote on it. So we need a motion.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the resolution to submit the Sauk River Watershed Comprehensive Watershed Management Plan to the Board of Soil, or yes, to the Board of Water and Soil Resources? Is there a motion?
This is Dan, I'll make the motion.
Is there a second to the motion?
This is Lee, I'll second.
There's been a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion? Any more discussion?
And roll call.
Motion is approved.
You gotta vote.
Roll call.
Oh, yes,
Yep.
the roll call.
Supervisor Dan Whitney.
Yes.
Supervisor Lee Buchholz.
Yes.
And Supervisor Dale Catterhagen.
Yes. We should ask for Tom.
That might be Tom there now.
Okay, Supervisor Tom Williamson.
Still can't hear you, Tom.
Aw.
Wait on.
And I misspoke. We do not have the red eye on the agenda, but the Sauk River is later, so.
Number 7, is there any questions from the Board of Commissioners on the 2020 annual report?
This would have been probably something you got in the mail. Did anybody need a copy?
We got it electronically.
You got it electronically? Okay. All right. Any questions on it at all?
I thought it was kind of neat to read through and see some of the things you've accomplished, so appreciate getting it, because now I don't sit on the board anymore with you, but it's just nice to read things that you're doing and getting accomplished, so it's, makes us feel that we're doing something.
Thanks.
And in my perspective, I think there's people out there that get this, that have no idea what takes place out there, and it gives them that much, a little information of what is taking place anyway. And if nothing else, it creates conversation.
Well, I appreciate the tree order, because I always lose mine, so.
Right. We, this year, have run short on trees. There's been so much crep being planted, so large tree orders coming in, so we have had to call several people and apologize for not having the trees that they want. We still have some, but it's been an unusual year, and I think every SWCD across the state has experienced the same thing, more trees being planted. I did want to share this quote from you, and it was in the packet. This was from a citizen. We do get these comments all the time about these reports, but this one was kind of unique. That she said she got the newsletter in the mail and usually read it thoroughly. I also subscribe to the National Geographic and usually read each issue cover to cover. Lately, I've read several articles that are critical of agribusiness. One article reported on seeing herds of cattle in Texas feeding on Iowa corn and suggested that the piles of manure should be shipped back to Iowa. Perhaps the editors at National Geographic should focus on positive environmental agricultural news. I'm sure there are plenty of positives, as evidenced by the Todd SWCD's annual report and winter newsletter, which I'm planning to send to them, to National Geographic. So that was kind of quite a compliment.
Thank you, Deja. Number 8 is the county's successes.
Yep, and if you can scroll down to this page here, it was in the newsletter, but I just kind of let you look at it again. You can see we did, even despite COVID, we still did 21 SWCD conservation projects this year. This was also being down a technician, as Technician Brown was serving the country in a way. So lots of activity happening. The grants down at the very bottom are all the grants that we have capacity to offer to the public. And we're very excited about that. We just got another grant, a cover crop grant that will go down into the Sauk River watershed, and that has participation with Osakis Creamery and the Soil Health Coalition, with the Stellings, and several farmers in the area. So we're pretty excited about that. There's lots of other things going on, and I'm sure you guys hear about it over time. One thing that sometimes we hear landowners say, and not so much anymore, but maybe 5 years ago this was common to hear, that cost share is another form of welfare. It's definitely not welfare. It is economic development. And in these days and age, it is very difficult for people to meet some of the expectations that the state, the country, and even our county place on individual landowners. So some of these funding that we have available enables them to make corrections or to do things to their property to better the environment. When I say it's economic development, you can see a list. There's several landowners. This was just quickly from the last year that we pulled out Todd County businesses and their employees. This is certainly not a comprehensive list. Very quickly, Long Prairie Fleet, Statamo Backhoe Service, Becker Excavating, Minnesota Pro Fence, Doug's Excavating, Pro Ag, Osakis Creamery, the Agronomy Department, Hard Rock Excavating, that's Tony Jars, Basil Earthwork, Upper Midwest Pumping, Corblix Excavating, Todd County's Recorder's Office, Nicholas Heron, Craig Cheetah's Excavating, Machi Construction, numerous gravel and mining pits, Canyon Excavating. And down below you can see how that even expands locally, but somewhat out of the county. This doesn't include gas stations. This doesn't include people stopping and taking a lunch break. It doesn't include many waves of these actions that go out where our cost share money actually brings economic development to our county. And I just thought that was pertinent to make recognition of that. The last thing that I thought that might be pertinent to you that was presented in the work session to the SWCD board in November was emerging demand, some changes that we're seeing. In the feedlot, trends show an increase in small farms with beef as the livestock industry transitions, with increased need for knowledge and grazing methodologies, fencing, pipeline install, larger beef sites requesting roof over structures. So our big sites, almost all of our equip projects are giant roof over structures with manure storage inside. Those are costly and expensive and take time to build, but there's no more rainwater falling on open lots. So it's kind of a neat thing if we can get them on the ground. In farm conservation, there's increasing demands for soil health, cover crops, and alternative cash crops, as you might see going up County 21 towards Staples. In wetlands, there's been a lot of desire for wetland fill. Lou's been very busy with water levels rising. They want access, and there's been a ton of interest in development of wildlife habitat and creating more open waters. And then obviously the ditch clean outs and culvert replacements as we struggle to handle the water. Right now, we're kind of in a droughty place, but that's can change by a flick. Trends are indicating that water levels will continue to rise, or precipitation levels. In riparian, obviously more need for bank stabilization, livestock crossings, shoreline protection, septic compliance, that separation from groundwater. Now that we have the water in the lakes increasing, that's been somewhat of a concern. And stormwater controls. I know you guys have been working with that. AIS and biosecurity measures for foreign diseases and weeds, and demands on our staff for more job approval authority and expertise in some of these areas. We do have the highest demand still this year on the West Central Technical Engineering Service. Data entry, as always, seems to be ever increasing, and obviously demands to water planning with the One Watershed, One Plan, with focuses on irrigation and groundwater. And then your urban stormwater management and BMPs. I'm sure you guys see that as well. So those are the emerging demands that seem to be flaring up as time goes on, and that Todd SWCD in cooperation with the county will work on addressing. Thank you.
Thank you, Deja. Next on our agenda is the presentation on the 2021 annual work plan.
This is for the SWCD board to approve. Basically included in your packets, if you were interested in it, was how we arrived to these specific goals. This is an overlay that goes over the whole duty of the SWCD. Everything that we can possibly do, there's a scope of work duties. And this just narrows down what is pertinent to water planning today, water quality today, and to the goals of SWCD and the county. So on this plan, I could align the plan of action, and this is what our goal is for 2021. I don't know where it is here, but there's 4 scope of duties that we're actually hitting, even though there's many inside the document itself. The 4 are on the left. The SWCD is very familiar with these and has reviewed this several times. So at this time, I'm just asking for approval of this work plan.
Everybody hear that? Is there a motion to approve our 2021 annual work plan?
Lee Buchholz here, make a motion to approve the work plan for 2021.
Is there a second to that motion?
This is Dan Whitney, I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any more discussion? Any more discussion? Motion carries.
Okay, and roll call is Supervisor Dan Whitney,
Yes.
Supervisor Tom Williamson, Supervisor Lee Buckles,
Yes.
and Supervisor Dale Catterhagen.
Yes. Next, excuse me. Next on our agenda is we have a staffing update for 2021. Deja?
Yep, so basically we're just, unfortunately, we can't hear him, but Wayne Wendell is our new supervisor for Area 2. If you haven't got a chance to meet him, sometimes pop into our meeting and hopefully you get a chance to meet him. So he's our new one. You all know that Reba Van Bussicom has moved on to Bemidji NRCS, and we have an open job position right now that'll be closing, I think, in another week. Hoping to have some really good candidates, so hoping the public will jump onto that position and we can fill that quickly because we have a lot of work to do. And Todd, that's it.
Very good. Is there-
Dale, before you adjourn, I'd ask if the board up here has any questions, comments? Okay.
Thank you.
No more questions, concerns, comments? Hearing none? Meeting adjourned.
And do we have to do a roll call? Yes. Yep. Okay, Supervisor Dan Whitney,
Yes.
Supervisor Lee Buchholz,
Yes.
and Supervisor Dale Catterhagen.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Then I'll also ask for the adjournment of the joint meeting of the Soil and Water and the Board of Commissioners. I will need a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Newman, is there a second?
Second.
Second. Knizel, any discussion? If not, roll call.
Commissioner Newman,
Yes.
Commissioner Kneisel,
Yes.
Commissioner Erickson,
Yes.
Commissioner Kircher,
Yes.
Commissioner Becker.
Yes. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dale.
Stay warm.
Yeah. Then we'll resume our regular board meeting. And the next on the agenda would be
Brenda.
the University of Minnesota Extension. Good morning, Brenda.
How are ya?
Good.
Morning.
I'm happy to be here on this bright, beautiful winter day. And I know that sounds strange, but I would much rather have this than 100 degrees because it's a lot easier to feed and take care of animals in the wintertime than in the summertime. Because you don't have to worry about flies. And they eat a lot more in the wintertime, but sometimes they don't eat in the summertime because of the heat. So anyway, Suzanne is going to join us this morning, so I think she has something to say first.
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Good morning, Suzanne.
Okay, great. Well, good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners. Thank you for having us here today. Last fall, when we were there to introduce Alyssa as the new 4-H educator, you invited us back to give occasional reports and updates from the Extension Office. So our first presenter today is Brenda, who's going to give you an agricultural livestock update. And then we'll have 4-H update and then also the health and nutrition update as the year goes. So we'll try to visit you 3 times, I think, a year, if that sounds sufficient. So that's all I really had to say. Brenda, go ahead and take it away.
So you guys all have your sheet that is in your packet, and I'm not going to read that to you, but that's just kind of an overview, kind of on what's going on. And so this last year, COVID has really been a challenge, but there's been some really awesome programming that has come out of it. And in that regards, it's people that I don't normally get to work with, like geographically, because, you know, right now I work a lot with Melissa Runk, and she's down in Southwest Minnesota. So if we have in-person programs, which I love and I really miss, but I don't normally get to work with some of my colleagues that way. So it's also brought about really neat opportunities. So I normally have a goat workshop every fall, and this year I did as well, and it was just online. But in May, I was talking with one of my colleagues, and we were just talking about, oh, maybe we should have a goat series because, you know, everybody's just bumming around, and we're trying to look for things to do to help our producers, right? And so out of that conversation came a goat webinar series in May, and from that evolved into goat and sheep, in which we do once a month now. And we had one in January about 3 weeks ago, and we had over 550 people registered from all over the US and all over the world, and over 200 of those people showed up to join us live, which is pretty impressive for an over 40% of our registrants to join us live. So that's been really neat, and we've been able to reach people and get questions, and those are just, you would not believe how many questions people have, but it's been really good, and we have a really awesome team. And when you put on a Zoom meeting, you can't do it by yourself. Like, that's definitely a team effort. So I've definitely learned a lot about Zoom and Zoom registration and troubleshooting, and I'm not an IT person, but I can hold my own now because we've had to learn about this, which is really good. So going forward, I think that, you know, we will be able to have in-person events, but I don't think this online presence is going to go away because we can reach more people. And, you know, when you have a event in person, that's like a one-time deal, and a lot of times it's only people in that geographical region that can come. Whereas if we can put it online and record it, then maybe if you can't come that day to the in-person event, we can still be able to view it later on. So, and then plus, you know, just people you can get from all over. With that, we have some dairy programming going on, and a lot of our dairy programming is usually in person, like our summer field days, and you know, I'm gonna lump breakfast on the farm in that because it's usually on a dairy farm. And unfortunately, this year we weren't able to do those sorts of events, but we still are able to do some online programming for those dairy folks. And it's been a really tough few years for our dairy farmers with the price of milk and everything else going on. And since I've started, we've lost about 50 dairy farms here in Todd County. And that can be due to, you know, financial things, just retirement. We have a lot of our farmers who are in that older generation and 50 and above. And then just sometimes we can't compete anymore with the new technologies and stuff. It's sometimes not economically feasible for some of those farmers to, maybe they're like, well, should I stay in and do another 10 years, or should I retire and let my body rest and do something else? So there's kind of that, you know, weighing different options. But we've been able to have a lot of different neat events online. And then also too, not only are we as Extension putting things on, but lots of other companies and other universities are putting on webinar series, and that's really neat too, because I might not be able to travel to Indiana, but I sure can view Purdue University's dairy series. So things that we weren't able to take part in, now we can. And hopefully once maybe restrictions lift, we're really hoping to do our on-farm field days again this summer, but we'll just have to see what opportunities arrive in that. And then beef is a really big one right now, and I know Gary is one of our beef guys here in this county, but we weren't able to have cow-calf days this year, and that's really a big program for me. And so instead, a group of us local educators got together and we said, well, let's put on a little mini-series, right? Well, the mini-series kind of is getting out of hand a little bit, but it's been really good. So last night was number 3 of 6. We've been doing it Mondays and Thursdays here in February from 8 till 9 p.m., which I know that sounds really late, and it does get late, but we just figure all of our kids are in bed by then, and everybody's done with chores by then, so they can hop on for like a half an hour. And so it's been really good. We have over 250 people registered for that, and last night about 85 people joined us live, and that's kind of been about the norm. But we're tailoring that to more the the beginner and intermediate sort of beef producers, and we've gotten really great questions and really great feedback on that. And so not only are we doing that beef calving series, but we are in the midst of a really heavy beef quality assurance trainings. I am one of 2 teachers in that in our extension, and we are paired with the Minnesota Beef Council and to do those programs. And so we've had really good turnouts. We've had like 40 and up to 50 plus people to join us on those virtual events. And that's normally something that we teach in person, but just like everything else, we can reach people from farther away and all over the state. So that's been really good, and hopefully we can continue to do that. We have, I think, 4 more between tomorrow and April 1st that are on the calendar. So that's been fun, and I'm looking forward to the rest of those. So on the back of your sheet, you can see all the upcoming events that we have. Also, the private pesticide applicator training workshops are wrapping up. We are doing all those virtually this year. They've had some good attendance. And then they also have, you can do an online exam, which they've had before, an online like Canvas course where you take this course paced on your own time, or you can do the mail-in exam. And so a lot of people, I've gotten a lot of calls, where can I get the book or the exam? And I said, well, just come to the extension office and pick that up, and we have that here. So I think that's kind of the main things. Just over the years, I've had a lot of technical assistance calls, and when I say technical assistance, I mean people that have called, who've emailed, farms that I've stopped at, and I've helped them with, an issue that they have, or just talk through some things to do. One of the big ones was a couple years ago, a farmer contacted me and said, we want to prepare for the next generation, and so we are looking at building a parlor and a freestyle barn. So I helped them design that, and it took about 3 years to get that all done, but they're very happy. And they've a couple years ago they asked me where they can find more cows, and they like doubled their herd. So that's pretty neat to kind of help them through the steps. And other people too, we talked about bale grazing with a beef farmer, and he implemented that and had really good success. And so it's fun, even through the COVID and not physically being in the office, but I still get a lot of calls and emails, and I can still help people that way. So any questions? Suzanne, I think she maybe had something up there.
Did Susanna want to come in?
If I might add, I would just say, Brenda, I really appreciate what you're doing to match up your expertise and your interest and knowledge with what other educators add, and then you're creating valuable programming, and you're getting Todd County farmers to those things. So I really like how you're leveraging a lot of that. So I just wanted to raise that up, because I think the board needs to know how, by partnering with others, you're able to really help and enhance what farmers in Todd County are learning about.
It is really fun, like we have all these online programs, but then when you're on there and you look through the registration list, or you look through the people who are on there live, you're like, oh, I know them and I know them. Or, like Pete Beerscheidt was on our beef program the other night, and he asked the question, like, okay, it's really fun to interact with people who are actually in your county joining you live for some of those when they would normally be at your in-person event. So I'm glad that they're, the only problem is like the goat workshop where we normally have some Amish people, like, I'm still trying to figure out how to get them involved. So if anybody has any comments or ideas, I am totally all for that. So I don't know what this fall is going to bring, if I'm going to do an in-person goat workshop, or do like a hybrid system where we can maybe have like the Amish would come here so that they could view. I don't know. That's a long ways away. I have other things to worry about right now.
Gary, you have.
Yeah, Brenda, the beef quality certificate,
Yep.
is that a one-time thing, or is you gotta renew it every so often?
So the beef quality assurance training is you take it, and it's good for 3 years, and then you have to recertify. So you can take it for, you can join one of our online or our live webinars, or you can go to the BQA website, and they have an online course that you can do at your own pace, but it takes a little bit longer. People have said it takes like 3 or 4 hours. So, but you can, if that's you, that's totally fine. And then also, so if you're a farmer, anyone who's, let's say like you and your wife, you know, whoever the check gets written to. So if it only gets written to you, then when you sell cattle, then you only have to take it. But let's say they write it to your wife's name, then she has to take it too.
Yeah, I did it a couple years ago now, a year and a half ago or whatever, but,
So it's good for 3 years.
yeah, okay.
But if you want to recertify now, you certainly can. It's not going to hurt. It's free.
Yeah, I know. It's-
Yeah.
Yeah, I did it. Well, I didn't know about it the first time, and I called NFO to get haul some cattle to him. He says, well, have you been certified yet? And I says, no, I didn't know nothing about it. He says, well, you can go online and do it, so I did it. And, you know, so it was-
And there's one for the farmer, and then there's also ones for if you are trucking cattle to, let's say you're taking them to Green Bay or Tyson, Dakota City, or wherever. Those who are driving the semis, or if you're taking them in a truck and trailer, they have to have that as well. So there's a BQAT, which is a transportation one, and then there's just the beef quality assurance for the farmer. I took the transportation one, not the semi one, just the truck and trailer, and that was like a little over an hour, and it was pretty interesting. But the only place right now that's not requiring BQA on the producer side is Long Prairie Packing, but it's only a matter of time until that comes. But all the other big ones, they all require it for both the farmer and the trucker. So it's a good thing to have.
Any other questions, commissioners? Comments?
Well, I have a comment, Madam Chair. Love your chicken videos. Barb and I love watching them, so
Yeah.
thanks.
Good. So I have a small flock of laying hens, and I have like 7 of them. And so I started a Facebook page last summer, and so I do these little chicken videos of what's going on in my chicken coop. And that brings me to a good point, because my water has been freezing up this week, and so somebody's like, "Oh, maybe you should spray foam around the bottom of that," and I haven't gotten it done, and so I'm gonna do a video on that.
Good, thank you.
Thank you for the comment. I appreciate it.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you, Brenda. Thank you, Suzanne.
If you ever had any questions, comments, or events, things that I should be educating people on, let me know. I'm more than happy to see what I can do. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate the presentation.
Yep.
Lonnie, you're presenting for the sheriffs?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have a couple agenda items. The first one is going to be to purchase 2 2021 Ford Explorers. Sheriff Ock would like to purchase 2 of the 21 Ford Explorers from 1040 Ford of St. Cloud. The price for each one is $36,018.24 on the state contract. The total for the 2 would be $72,036.48. This is a budgeted item for the 2021. Options: approve the purchase or do not approve the purchase. Obviously, our recommendation is approve the purchase of 2 2021 Ford Explorers.
Okay, I'll ask for a motion for approval.
So moved.
Motion by Kircher, is there a second?
Second.
By Kneisel, discussion?
So he sends you in here for the big ticket items, huh?
Yeah, I noticed that. But I did change the agenda for you. I gave you both options this time instead of one.
Oh, okay.
Lonnie, do you guys have a rotation of vehicles, like what we do, you know, for the rest of the county? You
Yeah,
replace so many every year?
Where our normal rotation, we purchase 4 squads a year and then we rotate them out.
Okay.
Madam Chair, how many squads you got total?
Well, we have 17 full-time folks, and then we have.
Randy, you talking people or cars?
Cars.
Yeah, so all the full-time folks have a squad, and then we have a couple part-time vehicles along with the boat and water truck, and then our transport van.
Okay.
Any other discussion or questions? If not, all in favor? Say
Aye.
Opposed, and carries.
All right, the second item will be another squad. This will be used for investigations. So Sheriff Hawk would like to purchase a 2021 Chevy Traverse from Ranger GM of Hibbing. The price of the Traverse is $28,659.05, state bid. It is a budgeted item for 2021. The options: approve the purchase or do not approve.
Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Motion by Kircher. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Erickson. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favors?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is Adam going to join us then?
Good morning again.
Good morning, Adam.
All right. First item this morning is the submittal of the Sauk River Comprehensive Watershed Management Plan. The 60-day comment period for the Sauk River Comprehensive Watershed Management Plan is set to expire on June 15th of 2020. A motion is required by all boards within the planning region to approve submittal of the plan to Bowser for final approval. The options are a motion to approve submittal of the plan, a motion to deny submittal, and the recommendation at this time is approval of submitting the Sauk River Comprehensive Watershed Management Plan to Bowser for formal review. I'm realizing now that I must have not clicked save because June 15th doesn't make any sense. Should be like the end of the month here. But we're in
this
this.
is-
Warm weather, weren't you?
Oh, it says
Yeah.
expires on June
Yeah,
15th
so
of
there-
2020, so.
We're in the 60-day comment period now, and when that expires, they want to submit it. So we need formal approval from each of the entities participating in the plan development to submit this for Bowser review.
And we heard the Soil and Water approved it earlier today.
So this is the one watershed, one plan, I'm assuming.
Yes,
correct?
yep. Yeah, in the name, if you look at the resolution that came with it, this was the draft resolution that all the partners are using. One Watershed, One Plan is the program that provides the grant funding to develop it, but the plan they're creating is referred to as the Comprehensive Watershed Management Plan. So that's why the title of the board action is that way.
So, Madam Chair, I will move this.
Okay, we
need
have
to
a,
change that date, though.
yes.
Yeah, I gotta
with the
figure out what
changing.
that date exactly is, and I can get that from Sarah, with the Sauk River, and change that to
Because
the
you have-
appropriate date.
Because you have 2020 there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think, and this is from when we submitted the red eye
Okay.
plan
Okay.
last year,
The
so I'll have
public,
to
the
change
public
that.
hearing was held on January, I think, 28th at 6:30. So we went from the public hearing, and then the policy committee voted on it the following Monday, which we had to bring it back to all the water and soil boards, all the commissioner boards for approval. And then the Sauk River Watershed, I believe, is gonna approve it tonight to submit it to
Yep.
Bowser.
Once that 60-day review is up, then they'll have it ready to submit to Bowser to get them, because it's like they have 90 days to review it at the Bowser level, and then it'll come back to you after that for like the formal adoption of the plan at that point. So this is just a motion to approve the submittal for the review by the
Submit it
state.
to Bowser for,
Review. Yep.
and I have a motion for approval from Commissioner Newman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Erickson. Any further discussion? Comments? If not, all in favor?
aye.
Opposed? And carries.
All right, the next action is a Coleman Oaks preliminary plat. An application for subdivision to create a single lot plat in R10 zoning was submitted on January 11th. It was reviewed by the Planning Commission during the February 4th meeting. The final recommendation from the Planning Commission was to approve the preliminary plat with just one condition. That condition being removal of all the wood framing of the abandoned trailer home prior to final platting. So the options would be move to approve the preliminary plat with the condition, deny the preliminary plat, or remand it back to the Planning Commission for further consideration. And the recommendation at this time would be approval of the Coleman Oaks preliminary plat with the one condition.
Okay, I will ask for a motion.
So move.
So move for approval, Randy.
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Erickson. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and carries.
I'll get rolling that updated action once I have it.
Good,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Administration?
Thank you. The Policies Committee is bringing forward, we've worked and reviewed and updated the Personnel Policy Article 7.27, Emergency Closings. Also with this update, the Personnel Policy will be reformatted to improve compliance with the ADA. And there is a resolution to make that update. Options being approve the resolution, or number 2, do not approve the resolution with the recommendation to approve.
Okay, after hearing that, changes to the personnel policy, is there a motion?
So moved.
A motion by Commissioner Erickson, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Kircher. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And it carries. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I have a board action this morning to adopt the 2021 Teamsters Courthouse contract. The background is the Todd County negotiations team met with the courthouse union representatives, and we have reached a tentative agreement. Highlights of the agreement include no change to health insurance premium cost sharing, a 2% general wage increase for 2021, a $50 increase in clothing allowance for solid waste employees, and elimination of the sick leave bonus. The options are to adopt the tentative agreed courthouse contract or do not adopt, and the recommendation is the Todd County Board of Commissioners authorize the adoption of the courthouse unit collective bargaining agreement for 2021.
Is there a motion for the Teamsters Courthouse contract?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Kircher, and that's to approve,
Yes,
I presume.
to
Is
adopt.
there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Newman. Any discussion? Questions? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And carries.
Thank you.
Good morning, Jackie.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners.
Morning.
I am here to provide you our every other week or a board update regarding COVID. As of February 16, 2021, Todd County has 2,390 lab-confirmed COVID positive cases. 31 of those cases did result in death within Todd County. Cases no longer needing isolation is at 99%, being 2,372. 46.3% of the population was male positivity and female 52.8. Age range, again, is anywhere from 2 months to 103 years, with a case average age range of 44.5. Our case rate from February 3rd to February 16th is 38 cases reported for Todd County with a 15.55 case rate. To give you just a little bit more update regarding our vaccine administration, the call center was started last Friday. Each Friday at noon, our 9 support staff log into the call center and take calls from a queue, which places the caller in the order it was received. It's fixed. This has fixed our previous phone issues with drop calls and busy signals. So the second week went much better. Yeah, it just went really well. I know I went around that afternoon after, around noon, I think, or actually about 1 o'clock, because the calls came in at noon, and I asked each one of the 4 out of the 9 receptionists how it went, and all I heard is it went great. So I think it just was a great plan, and sometimes you need to experience those pains to get some success, and I think we're there. So last Friday, we filled up our 100 clinic appointments in about 45 minutes. We have a clinic tomorrow on the 17th. We'll be giving 286 second doses and then 104 first doses. We continue to request more vaccine, but again, we're given an amount roughly about 100 each time for first doses. So we would like to start working more with our health systems, like I've said before, and we're gonna start requesting more vaccine in hopes to be able to do that. And again, with each week when we make that request, we only get 100. So we're gonna get a hold of our regional representative to start advocating for more vaccine. Whether we get it or not is another question, but we'll continue to request vaccine.
Questions?
Yes, Madam Chair. How many shots have we give total?
Oh, gosh, I didn't look that up this morning, Commissioner Newman. I can get you that information. It is on the website, but I can definitely get you that
I
information.
appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Just a comment, the calls that came in, the last clinic filled up extremely fast again, correct? The demand calls are still there.
Correct.
But no projection, like you said, of getting any more. I know there's still a lot of people that want it, as far as even the elderly end of it, still haven't went through all the way.
Right, right. We do, we're not, we're seeing a lot of requests for the vaccine, which is promising, which is nice. There has, like I said, each week it seems to get a little bit better, but there was some vaccine hesitancy at first, but I am thinking people have been more accepting to the vaccine than they were initially, so.
Comments, questions? We're gonna let Jackie off that easy this time?
Yes!
I'll make one other comment.
You had to say it, didn't you?
I have nothing but positive today.
Thank you.
I've heard nothing but good about the organization of the process and the building and the, you know, going through the thing, how well run it was. Nothing but positive out on the street.
You know, and we're starting to see some letters to the editor that are stating that too. So we, I can't say it enough how much I appreciate the time that our staff has put into that, and from the call center to the investment of setting it up and the process that's out there. It is nice to, in this uncertain time of this pandemic, to really remind people what public health is about, and start advocating for our residents that have a need, but also to showcase that building and what we can do in public health, and as a county as a whole, because it wasn't just public health that put that building together. It was everyone, all involved, all hands on deck. So you know, it's taken a village to do that, so.
Well, I had my second shot, and when I was in there, people knew who I was, so they were saying, man, is this nice, is this beautiful? Actually, I think you could go without a jacket in there, and I think a year ago you wouldn't go without a jacket in there. So it's just a major improvement, and every time I'm in the building, people are complimenting it, so I think we did good this time, board, and
Absolutely.
working at
Thank
getting
you.
that accomplished, so. So I do appreciate everything, and it's so quiet in there. When you go in, you can't hardly, I mean, people talking at the front there, you can barely hear them, and so confidentiality is great there, because you really can't hear much conversation between nurses and patients and whatever, so it's set up really nice, so I just think we did a great job there, and we should all take credit for that.
Absolutely.
And I tell them that this is also available for a drive-through vaccination, and their first question was, is are we gonna have hockey back? And I said, yeah, hockey will be back probably, so we'll see. So,
Hopefully, we're done with this
Yeah.
by next year at this, that time, you know, and then you can make that decision. But, yeah, I want to, like you said, Dave, thank you for allowing us to be able to do this. We are in a unique position as a small county to be able to offer vaccines at this capacity. Even within our region, they don't have the building that we have. So the timing couldn't have been more perfect for the update, but also to be able to show the community what we've done with that building and what we could possibly do in the future with it. So,
well, I think we spent the wisest place to spend our COVID money was for the people. A lot of counties went and paid their salaries out of the COVID money. We built something for the people to help vaccinate and whatever else we need to do. That's what this board did, was provided something with that money for the people of the county. So I think we were really smart and thought outside of the box and did something that we needed and did, but I think there's a lot of counties kind of envious right now, seeing what we did, and they spent their money on salaries. We spent our money on building something for the people, so.
Jackie, I had an Ag Society meeting, Gary and I did last week on Thursday, and the question they had questioning about the fair. Are they still going to be able to use a building for the fair if you're still doing vaccines?
and at this time, we have been talking about that, we could put a temporary hold on our vaccine offering. Who knows where we're gonna be in
Absolutely, and
mid-July.
this is in July,
but
yes, but
at
at this
that
point,
time,
they are,
The fair, I think, takes priority, and that's what we've heard with our committee, and maybe Chris can add to that.
yeah.
Madam Chair, the other discussion that we had is that we also have some mobility with the vaccine clinic, so we could look to set up in maybe a close area to the fairground, so people are still familiar with the location and still offer vaccines. So we're looking at different options.
Okay.
Wouldn't that be nice to say, come to the fair and get your vaccine too?
That would be awesome.
If we have a fair.
Well, yeah.
I
and
hope
that's
there's some
all.
normal back
Absolutely,
this summer, whatever the new normal looks
Who
like.
knows?
yeah. Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I would think the hospitals be wanting to use that building to give the shots out. I think they would.
What I have heard, and I hadn't had this confirmed, but the Center Care is vaccinating at their old hospital, so they do have unique to have a facility to be able to separate their clinic from their well clinic. Lakewood is struggling to get vaccine, so which is why we want to be able to work with them and help request so they can start giving vaccine to their patients, like we are with small amounts with our residents.
Okay. Okay.
One thing, to add one thing, I thought it was funny. Steve isn't here, so he can't defend himself, so maybe it's a good time to say something. But a sheriff in another county, I don't even know if it was, I think it was in our central region, received the vaccine, and the comment in the paper was, "Who shot the sheriff?"
Madam Chair, I did.
Thank you, Jackie.
Madam Chair, I did get an update, Jackie, from Catherine saying that they've administered 803 first doses and 427 second doses.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. Thank you.
I'm writing that down, then we'll go to standing reports. Auditor Treasurer,
I have nothing to report today, Madam Chair.
Coordinator,
Nothing, thank you.
Commissioners? If not,
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
Zoom, zoom.
zoom, 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 yeah. If not, I'll ask to adjourn the board meeting. Our next regular scheduled board meeting would be March 2nd. So I'll
So
ask
moved.
for a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Kneisel, second.
Second.
Second by Newman. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. We will do a work session Our Todd County work session. Attending remotely will be the media. Attending in person is Lauren Feldbaum, Denise Guida, and Chris Pelzer, and the commissioners are all still present. Okay, Lauren.
Officially, good morning. Two items that I thought I'd bring up to the board just for basically for discussion here at the work session. Two kind of things out of the ordinary of our normal operations, but the first one, in this year's budget, we have a request and some dollars in the budget to purchase a GPS unit. So the background with this GPS unit is we purchased it in 2006 with a combination grant with the Soil and Water Conservation District at that time to survey all the centerline pipes in the county ditch system. Throughout the years, as part of that, we did that work for Soil and Water. Then we were basically allowed to keep the GPS unit as our construction survey equipment. Due to that, over the number of years, this thing is now 15 years old, the manufacturer, Trimble, and our supplier, Frontier, really no longer can basically service this thing. 'Cause
Obsolete, probably.
it's basically obsolete. So they're basically recommending to us, Todd County, it's time to upgrade it. So with that, we included the quote here that we received from Frontier Precision, a company right out of Waite Park, Minnesota, to replace the unit at right around the $26,000 mark. There are other manufacturers of this, but GPS unit, but Trimble is by far the premier manufacturer of GPS unit, and pretty much all surveyors, government, construction type people use the Trimble name.
Lauren, will you be sharing this with Soil and Water yet, or will this be just yours?
It's just be ours,
And they have their own now, or?
We use it when spring breaks. Basically, our surveyor uses it every day till fall. It'd just be too cumbersome. And I think they may have one themselves now. They've upgraded.
Okay.
I'm sure they do, yes.
I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
Questions, concerns? I'll put that on the board for the agenda for next 2 weeks, to bring it up for approval for that. The next item I want to just bring up for discussion was our bridge on County Road 14. This bridge, number 77509, just west of Browerville on CASA 14. I know there's some good people that live in and around that area.
Come on, butter you up a little bit.
Bridge 77509 is a timber slab bridge, which means there's timber slabs that go across that we actually ride on. Due to the age, they're starting to move a little bit, so we can't keep a very smooth bituminous surface on top of that. Included underneath there are what we call steel H-piles. They look like an H-pile driven down into the ground to hold up the bridge. So every year we go out and inspect this bridge, and you can see on our reports here, the timber slab is moving, like I said, so we can't keep a good surface, just because of 50 years of wear and tear. The steel columns or steel H-piles are starting to see a small amount of deterioration. And really the only way to fix those would be to remove the whole deck, pull them back out, and re-drive new piles back in, which really is not a cost-effective method. So based on that, it's about time for us to really look at replacing this bridge. We do have it listed in our 5-year plan and on our bridge priority replacement list. So with that, this type of specialty design work, we typically consult out with some of our local consultants. I sent out an RFP, a request for proposal for engineering services, to basically produce for us a complete construction plan. I received 3 quotes at this time. One from Widseth, formerly known as Widseth, Smith & Nolting, or WSN, right out of Alec. Erickson Engineering, they are located down in the metro area, and WSB has not responded at this time. As you can see, Widseth was the lowest quote at this time at $44,620. So what we'd like to do is start that process, because the design process can take upwards of a year due to we have to bring in a soil boring rig, do some soil borings. We have to do some investigation of hazardous materials, potential hazardous materials on the structure, and then do some normal design work to produce this set of plans so we can actually get it on the replacement list down at the state. The replacement list is a first come, first serve, so the sooner you get your bridge on that list, which is done by having an approved construction plan, the sooner we can get in line to receive some funding. So with that, I'd like to bring an agreement up for approval by the board at the next board meeting to approve WITSEF to move forward with that design work.
Questions? Lauren, when is this bridge supposed to be replaced?
We were hoping probably in fiscal year 2023 is when we have it listed. But obviously, if there is no bonding bill, or if there's just not money at the state, we would not move forward with it. Typically, a bridge of this size and complexity is going to be around $1 million to $1.2 million. That's our rough estimate at this time. And typically, the bonding bill or the bridge bonding money pays for, I'm just going to say rough half of it. If we chose to move forward without that, we'd have to pay that ourselves, whether it's local levy or state aid dollars. So our best option always has been to develop the plan, get it on the list, and wait for the bonding money to come in.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
Lauren, with this stuff moving around on this bridge, is the weight capacity been limited on it, or?
Yeah, I believe this one does have a weight limit restriction on it.
Okay.
Let's see if that report says it. I don't think it does. Yes, if we could zoom in backwards a couple slides, and I'll stand up and show you where that is. This is the bridge inventory report for all our bridges. And if you look down in this area right here, move up a little bit. Right here, it says, and I know it's a little grainy, it says posting. So I think it has a 30, 40, 40 posting. So what that means is a double or a typical semi has a 40-ton weight limit restriction, which basic semis are usually at the 80,000 pounds or 40 tons, which what this means is we can't have any oversized units go across it.
Well, you got the potato farms there, that's why I was asking what, and they're hauling big machinery in and out, and.
Right, but
then
they're
the semis
expected
are-
and required to
Okay.
comply with
Okay.
that. If they choose to go across it
Yeah,
and they're out of compliance, you know, we can't have someone there policing it 100% of the time.
well, and
But
if we move out the, replacement of 2-3 years,
this can only get
yeah,
potentially worse, so, yeah.
What would you be replacing it, I presume, with more of a concrete? or-
Absolutely. We think there's two types that we typically build. One is kind of a beam span, larger beams that carry the weight. But since this bridge is more near the water surface, we wouldn't be able to have those big beams there. So we have to shorten the beam structure up and put all the reinforcement basically in the slab. So it'd be what we call a concrete slab span, and very similar to the one on County Road 26 by Don and Dave Store that we just completed 2 years ago. And in these type of structures, there's built in a lot of redundancy inside there. What we say they can hold probably 3 to 4 times that amount. That's just the way things are built nowadays. So, yeah, it'd basically be a concrete beam slab or a slab span structure.
Questions? Comments?
well, we just replaced the one in Hartford Township down, or whether it was upstream or downstream toward Long Prairie. We just did that a few years ago, with them.
I'd say that's 10 to 12 years
Been
ago.
that long?
Yeah.
Wow.
Time flies when you're having
Yeah,
fun.
I guess
so,
it
yeah.
is, yeah. So anyway, but that turned out to be a very nice bridge.
Yeah.
So,
Unfortunately, they're expensive, but
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
just
gotta do it.
continually need to start, replacing them. As we have 160 some structures in the county, you gotta be,
you have a big ag business right there though, so you
yeah.
need,
And it's a good, one of our, it's an inter-county route for us, one that crosses the whole county, a very important structure to our transportation network, so we wanna make sure it's replaced.
So Lauren, the first question you always get asked is how long will it be out? And where will the reroute go?
Good questions. Our reroute potentially will want to stay on county roads.
Okay.
So we'd probably run that, probably not down 5 because they'd take Jasmine Road, which would be on the township system. So we'd probably run it up County Road 79 and across on
22.
62 or 63, whichever one that is, over to 21. However, local residents would be able to come down 5 and go to Jasmine Road, but that would not be the official detour. To answer the other part of your question, we would probably budget in the time for the construction probably 3 months.
Okay.
But it'll always be a detour up, so.
Wow.
And we would start a project like this in August, and run it to the end of the construction season.
Prime potato time.
Mm-hmm, that's a,
We gotta do it sometime. If we do it in the spring, then it's prime planting time, so.
I know.
Either way, we're gonna interfere with someone's
They have
operation.
some big machinery too.
Yeah.
So,
And this one will be a little bit wider, and then it won't have that
yeah.
load capacity, so. It'll be a much needed improvement.
any other questions? Thank you,
Great,
Lauren.
thank you.